Welcome, I'm Mr. Rankin. We're going to walk you through some of the examples in Chapter 1 for Business Analytics. Let's start out with example 1.5 of a sales promotion. So then in this example, we're looking at a grocery store, and we know their sales are a function of the price, the amount of coupons they give, and the amount of advertising they do. And they actually give us a function that says our forecasted sales are equal to 500 minus 0.05 times the price, because remember, price is inversely proportional to sales. As price goes up, we're going to have less unit sales, etc. C stands for coupons, plus the amount of advertising we do, plus a combination of price and advertising. So I've set this up, and there's lots of ways you can set this up in Excel, but I like to set it up with my assumptions and actually what's calculated, and I've actually made it a gray area where you input your different assumptions. So as you can see, if we click on price, I've inputted a price. Coupons, I put a little note here. 1 means yes, 0 means no advertising. That's an example. Or coupons. 1 means we're giving coupons, 0 means we're not giving coupons. And then the amount of advertising in terms of dollars. Now over here, so we have a function. So what I've typed in here is I've just taken this formula, and I've taken 500 minus 0.05. Let me do it for you right in here. Let me clear this out. And say I go equal sign. That tells Excel we have a function. 500 minus 0.05 times P, which I'm going to do the cell, okay, and then tells me plus 30 times C, which is my coupons, plus 0.08 times my advertising, plus 0.25 times my price, times my advertising. Now, in this function, it's not critical that I lock in the cells, but I like to get in the habit if I don't want them floating around. And you can do that with the F4 function, so that locks that cell. And I'm going to do that for each one of these. And there you see I get my 830. Now, the power and the reason you want to do this is now I can do some examples of, well, what if I take the pricing to $8? What happens to my sales? What if I don't give coupons? What if I do a little more advertising? Etc., etc., etc. You now have a model that Excel is set up that you can put in. Didn't want to do that. $7.50. I could go 7, and it automatically adjusts. So that's part of the power of Excel, is now I can put in all sorts of scenarios, and it automatically calculates the sales. So that's a sales promotion model. Let's look at another one. Let's look at a total cost. So a little bit of accounting background. Total cost is a function of how much our fixed costs are, and fixed costs are just costs that don't change with volume. So if I run a hamburger stand, it might be the rent for the space. The rent for the space is not going to change. That cost is not going to change whether I sell 0 hamburgers or 100 hamburgers. The variable costs, on the other hand, are costs that do vary with volume, such as the amount of meat. The more hamburgers I sell, the more meat costs I'm going to incur. So the total costs are just a function of fixed costs plus variable costs. Now, the second function is your variable costs are equal to whatever your unit cost is. So back to the hamburger. If hamburger is, $2 a patty or 50 cents a patty, my variable costs are my 50 cents, my cost per unit, times the quantity of units produced. So if it's 50 cents per hamburger and I make 100 hamburgers, that's a variable cost of $50. And then I add in my fixed cost, say, of the stand of 100, my total cost would be $150. But here we've set it up in Excel where you just put in your assumptions, the quantity produced, unit cost, fixed cost. This cell automatically calculates our variable cost by simply multiplying my quantity produced times my unit cost. Total cost is simply my variable cost plus my fixed cost. I didn't lock these, but you could, depending on what you're going to do with the model. But right now, if I want to say, what happens if the vendor comes and says, no, your fixed costs are $3,000. Now I have a new outlook on what my total cost is. It automatically updates. I think we're going to stop here and go through break even in the next video. Thanks, and any questions, send me an email. Have a great day.